Good day, and it's Numbers chapter 21. And when King Arad the Canaanite, which dwelt in the south, heard tell that Israel came by the way of the spies, then he fought against Israel and took some of them prisoners. And Israel vowed a vow unto the Lord and said, If you will indeed deliver this people into my hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities. Notes, now the Lord had instructed Israel to do this, even though it had not yet been recorded. Such commands were given by the Lord in this fashion because of the gross iniquity of the people. Iniquity actually included incest, bestiality, homosexuality, that kind of stuff that leaves a really bad taste in your mouth. And that means they were totally taken over by demon spirits, and consequently their execution was basically like the removal of a cancer. And well, some people may think that these dictations of God were very, very cruel. Well, think of it like this. If I were a doctor or a surgeon and I only removed half of your terminal cancer, wouldn't you think that there was something kind of wrong with that? Well, of course you would. You'd want me to get rid of the whole cancer and not just half of it or 10% of it or 99% of it. You want it all gone so you can live. Well, that's basically God's attitude towards many of these people. He simply had to destroy them to keep them from endangering anyone else. Verse 3. And the Lord hearkened to the voice of Israel and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities, and he called the name of the place Hormah. Notes, now Hormah is pretty close to the southern tip of the Dead Sea. Verse 4. And they journeyed from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom, and the soul of the people was much discouraged because of the way. Notes, they're discouraged because of the way. Well, the way is not always easy, but this difficult way was their own doing. If their fathers had believed the Lord, they would have been in the promised land approximately 38 years before. Verse 5, And the people spoke against God and against Moses. Wherefore have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water, and our soul loathes this light bread. Notes, in other words, they hated the manna. They had the same heart of rebellion as their fathers, and whenever the believer finds himself, and no matter how difficult may seem the way at present, he must not complain. Well, obviously this is a gross insult to the Lord, and for many and various reasons. We should thank the Lord and do so daily, irrespective to our circumstances. Basically, if the way is hard, we should try to learn the lesson which the Lord is trying to teach us and ask Him to deliver us. Well, of course He will. Verse 6. And here's the Lord's response. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much people of Israel died. Notes, it says that the Lord sent these fiery serpents. Now let us understand, everything which happens to a believer, be it negative or positive, is either caused by the Lord or it is allowed by the Lord. Believers belong to the Lord, and as such, Satan can do nothing against us unless God allows it. Read the book of Job if you don't believe my little tale right there. Verse 7. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Now pray unto the Lord that He take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people. Now, notes, it's very, very, very sad, but this is the first and only recorded occasion on which the people directly asked for the intercession of Moses. Verse 8. And the Lord said unto Moses, Make thee a fiery serpent, and set it upon a pole. Notes, the serpent, which represents sin and Satan, was the reason for the cross, and the pole was the type of the cross. Scripture, And it shall come to pass that everyone who is bitten, when he looks upon it, shall live. Notes, In other words, it's typology of saying everyone who looks to Christ and the cross has the sentence of death abated and therefore shall live. Verse 9. And Moses made a serpent of copper and put it upon a pole. It came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. Notes, now, approximately 400 years earlier, the Lord had shown Abraham the manner of salvation. It would be through the death of an innocent victim, namely the Son of God, and it was to Moses, however, as recorded here, that the Lord proclaimed the way that the Son of God would die. It would be by the cross, symbolized by the serpent on the pole. Verse 10. And the children of Israel set forward and pitched in Oboth. And they journeyed from Oboth and then pitched at Abarim, I think that's how you say it, in the wilderness which is before Moab toward the sunrising. From hence they removed and pitched in the valley of Zered. And from thence they removed and pitched on the other side of Arnon, which is in the wilderness that comes out of the coast of the Amorites. For Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Verse 14. Wherefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord, what he did in the Red Sea and in the brooks of Arnon. Notes, such a book did not actually survive antiquity. It's never been found. Maybe a copy of it will be one day, but I doubt it. Verse 15. And that the stream of the brooks that goes down to the dwelling of Ar and lies upon the border of Moab. And from thence they went to Beer. Notes, I'm not kidding. The name of this place is actually beer, as in an alcoholic beverage. B-E-E-R. Scripture. That is the well whereof the Lord spoke unto Moses, gather the people together, and I will give them water. Notes, Pulpit says that they were told to dig for water instead of receiving it from the rock, showed the end of the wilderness journey to be at hand and the transition shortly to be made from the miraculous to natural supplies. Verse 17. Then Israel sang this song, Spring up, O well, sing ye unto it. Notes, now a great truth is actually given here. You have problems, sing. And of course you want to sing songs of faith and songs of praise. The longest book of the Bible, which is Psalms, is given over almost entirely to music and singing, showing us the high value that the Lord places on this type of worship. Sing, in other words. Verse 18. The princes dug the well, the nobles of the people dug it, by the direction of the lawgiver with their staves. Notes, in other words, the Lord gave this direction to Moses, and Moses gave it to the people. And from the wilderness they went to Mattanah, and from Mattanah to Nahaleel, and from Nahaleel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth in the valley that is in the country of Moab, to the top of Pisgah, which looks towards Jeshimon. Verse 21. And Moses sent messengers unto Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, Let me pass through your land. We will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the waters of the well, but we will go along by the king's highway until we be past your borders. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his border, but Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel into the wilderness, and he came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword, and possessed his land from Arnon unto Jabbok, even unto the children of Ammon, for the border of the children of Ammon was strong. And we will have to pick up in Numbers chapter 21, verse 25. Thank you.